I am Sanyal, S-A-N-Y-A-L. They have put S-W-A-N-Y-A-L. Swanyal. But now, my very short presentation, I promised to Chairman that it will be very short, a pleading presentation to the e-gov practitioners, because here, as Prakash is other side of the table, there are some decision makers. So I just wanted to tell a very simple thing. Mr. Das is here, he is the MD of the Webull AIDC. After spending 34 years in the IT department and 10 years continuously in the e-governance, कुछ तो हो जाता है ना, feeling. So I wanted to share that. And in this building, I had a very, very good chance of talking to late C.K. Prahlad. So 15 minutes, very precious time for my life. And he gave me some suggestions that also I will share with you. This is a very interesting statement, and I want you to see that and understand the underlying meaning. The answer for every problem cannot be always another program for more money. It is time to radically change the way the government operates, to shift from top-down bureaucracy to entrepreneurial government. Entrepreneurial government, a very, very new coin. That empowers citizens and communities to change our country from the bottom up. ये हमारा country का बात नहीं है. This is not our country. Now I'll go to the next one. This is the report of National Performance Review of United States in 1993. I believe that was the best paper for US Online. So 17 years back they had taken a position. Till today, my good friend is there sitting, she has been in Canada in a good helm of affairs. Still many things in the US could not be really online, could not be really put into the place where it should have been. So it's not a very easy job. So that is what Prakash told, very correct, 60 years and you cannot change in 1 year. What happened actually, you should have a frictionless interaction with the government and citizen. And then internet can give you, online can give you. There is a traditionally adversarial relationship. Yesterday in this room, my good friend Tripathi, former IT Secretary of Orissa, he made a very interesting comment. Nobody wants to touch a bureaucrat. If you recall, if you are there present. Very correct. So internet is giving that. And what happened, the GIS, which is I am going to talk next 10 minutes, this is very, very important tool. What I am now coming to the conclusion, if the GIS component is not seen in any e-government project, little more depending on the what type of service, you are not really using the technology. Mr. Rane said 40% of the technology. In many of the previous presentations I used to make in 2002 and 3 on e-government, I used to use 20% technology. And now I am with the conviction, out of this 20%, 12% should be GIS. 8% is computer and other things. If you really want to deploy technology, technology is definitely not the computer, printer and all. Please take it out from your head. A computer, already in this room, previous day it was decided it is the man behind that computer is more important, which I completely endorse. So, another important thing, when you talk about the G2C services, then you actually citizen service by geography. You take any service, don't have to think now. Any service is actually given through geography. And GIS is the tool for geography. It is only logical to give the services through geography. You have to find out what GIS tool I can use here, how I can use the GIS here. This is like when we go for this service providers meeting, and if I happen to speak and I get a chance, I only tell them that you are the business people. There is a 630 million mobile phone in this country. Why don't you make mobile-based services as a platform? It only sounds logical. Even if 10% uses your solution, you get 60 million people. So it is only important that you find out this. What happens, GIS and e-government, if you marry them, then you can have that new dimensions energy to the citizen-centric governance. And citizen-centric governance is only our goal. There are possibility of interactive maps now. If you are exposed to GIS, there are many layers you can do. You can overlay the layers. Very recently, why I have told Ravi Gupta that allow me to speak on the GIS. Very recently, we have done a massive exercise on GIS for our CSC connectivity. And I have found the power of GIS. NIC is having a big establishment in Delhi through a project through Planning Commission, a huge facility. So we wanted to find out 1,000 towers of BSNL. If I give money to BSNL, put WiMAX there, how many CSCs will be covered? Is a very, very technical exercise. And immediately throughout the country, getting the lat long of BSNL tower was a long time. BSNL to even this finger doesn't know what this finger is doing. It's a monolith. But after overcoming those initial difficulty, I have found the GIS power in finding out how many CSCs will be covered if I give money. So I have got a full conviction that each and every, then I did some study, which I am going to put it. If you use the technology for communication and for business re-engineering, what he said, then GIS-based system serves as a common denominator for these two activities. You can really do it. You want to do a process re-engineering? Don't think that is the only automation of the process is there. You can really make a shortcut, like you create the shortcut in your screen if you put appropriately a GIS tool there. Your business process re-engineering will be still simpler. And it is having the much better access to that. In this age of the visuals, another pleading point for GIS, advocating the GIS, is that this is a visual world. This is the age of visuals. And all sorts of communications, interactive maps, inherently intuitive. So it holds huge potential for speed, efficiency, and flexibility in citizen-centric services. Another point. So governance graphic, which is the way a human brain works. Human brain works more for the graphics, visuals. So if you put GIS, take to any decision maker who doesn't have time, let us say Prime Minister. Why you put the graphics there quickly? So that immediately he or she understands. And you don't have to put 5-page note to him or her. Internet has given another big advantage. Now we are hoping that broadband will be coming in the country another 2-3 years' time. I can tell you with more conviction, the whole dismal picture of the connectivity speed which you are seeing, it is going to be over. I hope to live to that time that when we have 10 Mbps speed in each and every house, it will be another 5 years to come, 100%. So it is going to transform. And then one of the important governance thing, if you have that type of speed in the government offices, private houses, practitioners at home, and if you really wake up to the requirement of the GIS and integrate it, it is a great revolution. When the GIS is served over internet, interactive mapping power of GIS gets integrated to the ubiquitous feature of the internet, made it possible the era of interactive mapping. There is I will skip those things. Internet map server technology is there. You can have, for commercial, enough. You want to have the sales prediction. You want to have the sales profile, distribution, anything on the geography, you can use it. If you want to have a automated local government, you can see utilities, you can see transportation, only small list. I've got a written long list. I don't want to read because I want to be on time. Healthcare, law enforcement, G2C services, anything you think. No limit which can be placed in the GIS layer without a reference point. Absolutely no limit. If you have not studied so far, you trust me. There is no limit. Demographic trends, soil types, income level, poverty level. You want to make a disjoint layer overlay, which is not connected. It is not very easy to make them connect and find out what is the dependency. You can put in GIS. 2 layers you can put and see, find out. Mixing and matching of the data layers on a base map, which it is talking about. Just few examples. Urban area services. I think they are doing, I do not know what is the idea of ABM knowledgeware, how much they are using. But what we are seeing here, parametric zoning is possible for decision making. Best suited area for new business. Change in the demographic profiles. Where jobs are moving. Most environmentally hazardous part of the town. Only 4 examples. Real-time traffic mapping. Employment web shop. Shopping of industrial clusters. Many, many more. Then environment is a very, very topical thing now. So much they can do. In fact, they are doing it. Even in the tsunami, I've just got it that in the tsunami they have done something. GPS-based tsunami prediction they have done. NASA has already sound after the tsunami for this Indian Ocean and other tsunami. They have already done it on the complete GPS-based. Carbon trading, SO2 emission trading, regional shifting of emission, social sector service, physical living condition, any sort of survey, education, school dropout rates, communicable disease, comprehensively. Program is working, where program is not working, where policy push is required at local level, you can all find out. You don't have to go through a green sheet note of government. Just show it there and then. And I do not know anybody is here from Chhattisgarh? Excellent work done, and nobody is there from Chhattisgarh. Go to the CHIPS website and then find out. Excellent work is done by GI using the GIS. Economic development services, any sorts of region-wise, low maintenance, high interactive, railroad, demographic, everything has been done. There are global issues also, common views of the disparate lands. You want to find out which is common between Africa and India? Just find out the attribute. Put the GIS tool, overlay it, immediately you can find out. It's just possible. GIS only one can address depletion of natural resources, global coastline. India is having a huge coastline. You can only do effectively with the low cost, the complete coastline management with GIS. So with the GIS technologies evolving, very recently I am told 2 very big important GIS company in the world, they have merged. They are Intergraph and Hexagon. Either Hexagon purchased Intergraph or Intergraph purchased Hexagon, I don't remember, but they got merged. They are very big players. And then in India, I can tell you 11,000 CBSE schools, they have signed with Rolta. The geospatial course is also being done in 11,000 schools. So one of your children very soon, he may be getting taught about the geospatial technology in the schools also. So these are all good things, and then big companies like Microsoft, Google, they are very big players. They have also shown interest. Ye log to pakka businessman hai. They must have seen a lot of future, so that's why putting money. Okay. So this is what I just wanted to plead before you. This is coming something which is urban session, but just wanted to give an overview. Thank you for your attention.